Welcome to our movie recap channel, your ultimate destination for in-depth and engaging movie summaries, whether you're looking to catch up on the latest blockbusters or revisit classic films.
In the initial scene, a renowned entertainer named Samantha is practicing lines for a film she is featuring in. Her chief, Stryker, is watching her from a distance.
They are preparing for his upcoming film, where the main character, Audra, is mentally unstable. However, Stryker is discontent with Samantha's performance, and he claims Samantha doesn't fully understand how a mentally ill woman like Audra would feel. Samantha seems to not accept this remark.
The following day, Stryker takes Samantha to a mental asylum.
We learn that Samantha is being admitted to the asylum due to her mental dysfunction.
Here, they meet the head doctor, and the doctor tells her that he is a fan of her work.
He's excited to watch her as Audra, but Stryker remarks that the film has been put on hold for now.
The doctor comments that Samantha doesn't seem to be sick, and he expected more serious behavior from her.
Then suddenly, Samantha starts attacking Stryker with a letter opener and acts erratically, so the nurses have to appear and restrain her.
Seeing this, the doctor claims he finally understands her situation, and Stryker requests to speak with Samantha privately.
When they are alone, Samantha and Stryker begin to laugh, revealing that she was just pretending to be crazy. It is disclosed that she is a method actor, willing to do anything to fulfill her role as Audra.
Stryker encouraged her that the only way to play the insane woman was to spend time in a mental hospital with deranged women. He then leaves Samantha with the doctor and departs.
Later, Samantha goes to her room, which she shares with many mentally ill women.
She starts paying close attention to her new surroundings, aiming to better understand the experiences of these women.
Days later, Stryker visits Samantha and asks about her progress.
She admits to having difficulty fitting in with the insane people around her.
Samantha claims that they scream and cry so loudly at night that she can't sleep.
Sometimes the group sits down to watch movies, and most of the actors in these movies are herself.
The patients quickly recognize her and begin to mock her current state.
On Stryker's next visit, he claims that he likes Samantha's new look, comments that it's good, and asks her to save these experiences for the film.
Samantha continues to live in the institution, and being around a bunch of deranged people takes a toll on her, and she begins to feel depressed.
Weeks go by. Stryker realizes that she has changed a lot and seems to have turned into a real insane person now. So he decides to leave her as he thinks she has ruined his plan.
One morning, Samantha reads in a magazine that Stryker has announced the resumption of the film and is looking for a lead actress.
After all that she has sacrificed for this role, she didn't expect him to betray her. In the next scene, we see a stand-up comedian named Patti performing on stage.
She explains how she has always wanted to be an actress, admitting she'd do anything to make it happen.
Patti excitedly mentions that she, along with 6 other girls, has been selected to audition for a lead role in an upcoming film. On the other hand, we see a veteran actress named Brooke, whose manager informs her about Stryker's upcoming film and asks her to audition. Brooke is shocked because she thought Samantha was going to play the part, but her manager states that she is facing health issues. Hearing this, Brooke is excited and agrees to audition for the role.
Meanwhile, Samantha has managed to escape from the asylum and is now living with a friend.
It turns out she had broken into Stryker's office and found pictures of potential candidates. While she is burning these pictures in a fireplace, her friend encourages her to move on and offers to help her get better roles.
But Samantha declines and claims that she wants to get back at Stryker.
Elsewhere, a woman named Amanda is doing her makeup at home.
Outside her house, a masked man is seen preparing to break in. Amanda goes to her bed and reads a book when the masked man arrives and restrains her.
Despite her efforts to break free, the man overpowers her and forces himself onto her, and Amanda eventually stops resisting.
After they're done, both begin to laugh, and it turns out this man is her boyfriend, and they are just engaging in roleplay. Amanda then reveals that she will be attending Stryker's casting session this weekend. It's an important opportunity, and she doesn't want to miss it.
Later that night, she wakes up from her sleep. She searches for her boyfriend, but he is nowhere to be found. And then suddenly, a person wearing a grotesque witch mask appears and stabs her multiple times.
After she is dead, the killer takes her creepy doll sitting by the bed and leaves.
Since Amanda is now dead, the remaining 5 actresses show up at Stryker's mansion the next day.
Besides Patti and Brooke, we see Tara, a tall and attractive woman who works as a minor actress.
Then, there's a ballerina named Lorraine, and the youngest is Christy, who is an ice skater. The girls discuss what they might possibly share in common and why they were invited there. At that moment, Stryker walks in and sees that one of them is missing. He then introduces them to the odd caretaker, Matthew. Stryker tells them that one of them will play Audra, but he doesn't know which one yet. Moments later, Samantha arrives uninvited and sits at the table with the other actresses. Stryker is clearly annoyed by her presence, but he pretends to welcome her. In the evening, Samantha looks through her window and sees Tara making out with Matthew in a jacuzzi. She is then startled by Stryker, who asks what she is doing there. Samantha begins to accuse him of leaving her in the asylum and deciding to cast someone else as Audra. She also states that she bought the rights to the film, and without her, this project would never have been possible. However, Stryker responds that she is not fit to play Audra anymore. As they argue over Samantha's mental state after her time in the asylum, Christy walks by the door and hears everything. Stryker soon finds out that she's been listening to them, so he tells her that he and Samantha were rehearsing a play that he wrote. Stryker then accompanies Christy to her room and goes with her inside. Somewhere else, we see that the killer is likewise present and is setting up the weapon. Sooner or later, Stryker leaves Christy in her bed. It's revealed that he forced himself upon her, and Christy begins to cry alone in her bed. The following morning, a furious Christy goes outside to clear her mind. She then begins playing loud music while ice skating and starts to feel significantly better. However, some time later, the music from her boombox suddenly stops, so she skates over to see what's wrong. Here, she sees a hand covered in the snow and is horrified. Christy begins to dig and eventually finds a doll. This is the same doll the killer took after killing Amanda. As Christy inspects the doll, we notice the masked killer approaching her while skating. Shocked, Christy flees from there, while the killer chases her with a sickle. After an intense struggle, Christy manages to kick her attacker away, but not before being injured on the shoulder. She escapes into the forest, bleeding profusely. After walking for a while, she believes she is safe and leans against a tree. Unfortunately, the killer returns from behind and brutally beheads her. At night, the girls become worried as Christy is nowhere to be seen. Stryker informs them that she left a note on his door, telling him that she would leave. The girls are surprised because she was completely fine and cheerful last night. Stryker then insists they drop this topic and asks them to audition one by one. At that moment, Samantha appears and claims she wants to join them. Stryker becomes irritated, but Samantha insists that she wants to audition with the other girls. An infuriated Stryker then gives her an audition. He gives her the same killer's mask and asks her to seduce him without showing her beautiful face. Samantha reluctantly puts on the mask, and he asks her to seduce him without physical contact or words. The woman is left bewildered and unsure of what to do. Eventually, he removes her mask and claims that her face is a mask too. Later on, Stryker goes to meet Patti and asks her to audition for the role. However, out of nervousness, she begins to make him a couple of jokes. Stryker is clearly not impressed and says that a casting session is crucial for her. He then mentions that she isn't fit for the role and proceeds to leave. However, Patti yells that she's just as talented as the other actresses. She argues that being a comedian doesn't mean she can't play serious roles. While she is shouting, Stryker almost smiles and says that he can see a bit of Audra in her. In the next scene, Stryker angrily asks Samantha where the witch mask is, but she insists she doesn't know, so he accuses her of plotting something. Samantha becomes furious, pointing out that he brought 5 girls there for the role she was supposed to play, and now he's questioning her motives. In another scene, Brooke is reading the script in her room when she hears a noise from her bathroom. She proceeds to check but finds nothing. Elsewhere, Stryker is working with Tara and Lorraine, making them do a seductive scene with each other. They don't impress him, so he starts yelling at them. Meanwhile, Brooke is painting her nails in the bathroom, unaware of a figure lurking behind her shower curtain. She then closes the window when she hears a noise, and then suddenly she finds Christy's severed head in the toilet and rushes into the room where Stryker is working with the girls. She tells him about the horrible discovery, but he doesn't believe her. Stryker then goes to her bathroom, where he finds nothing. He dismisses it as a misunderstanding and tries to calm her down. He then suggests she rest for a while. Brooke is terrified and still shaken, so he takes advantage of her vulnerability and proceeds to get physically involved with her. Later, Samantha enters Brooke's room and sees Stryker in bed with her. She becomes upset, but quietly leaves the room without causing any commotion. She then recalls all the promises Stryker had made to her and ends up smashing a mirror in frustration. Meanwhile, Lorraine is practicing her ballet dancing in a studio room when the killer walks in and strangles her. On the other hand, as Stryker and Brooke are discussing the role of Audra, someone wearing a robe approaches the room. Suddenly, this person shoots a gun, causing both of them to fly through the window. Hearing the gunshots, Tara rushes downstairs, where she finds the lifeless bodies of Stryker and Brooke and screams in horror. She frantically searches the house for the others, but no one is to be seen. Tara attempts to leave but finds that the cars are inoperable, and she also sees the dead body of Matthew in the jacuzzi. Frightened, she seeks refuge in Stryker's prop warehouse, which is near the mansion. Tara tries to find a working vehicle, but we see that the killer is also present and observing her. Fortunately, she manages to evade the killer and escape. Tara then desperately tries to open the front door and screams for help, but to no avail. She looks for a hiding spot around the warehouse while the masked killer begins to search for her. Not long after, Tara escapes hiding and throws the killer away, and the person appears to be unconscious for a while. Tara attempts to remove the mask, but the killer suddenly wakes up and begins to strangle her. She then hits the killer with a piece of wood repeatedly before running away. After that, she wanders around the place and comes across a room filled with mannequins. She tries to hide there, but minutes later, she feels an uneasy sensation. When she looks up, she is astonished to see Lorraine's dead body hanging. Realizing there's nowhere else to go, Tara finds an air vent and decides to hide inside it. As she waits, the killer shows up and searches the area. Tara keeps silent, hoping to stay undetected. When the coast seems clear, she cautiously crawls out of the vent. However, she is pulled back into the vent and killed. In the next scene, Patti is in the kitchen when she's startled by Samantha's appearance. Samantha suddenly tells Patti to forget about the role and return to her normal life since there will be no film. Samantha then opens up about her past experiences in the asylum and reveals that she killed Stryker and Brooke that night as her revenge. Hearing this, Patti is deeply shocked. Samantha asks her to go ahead and call the police, claiming she's not going anywhere. Samantha assures that she won't harm her or the other girls, but then Patti points out that there's no one else left except them. Finally, Patti admits that she killed all the other girls to eliminate her competition. This surprises Samantha, but before she could react, Patti fatally stabs her to death. In the final scene, we see that Patti has been arrested for her crimes and placed in the same asylum where Samantha was admitted. She performs a stand-up comedy routine before a group of deranged individuals, explaining how she wanted to be an actress so badly that she'd do anything to make it happen.